The top stories: Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed says media plays a vital role in Ethiopia's development by keeping the public informed, promoting dialogue and supporting national progress. And Ethiopia has emphasized the critical need to revitalize Pan-Africanism in order to achieve political and economic integration. Hello and welcome to ABC World with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. A high-level Ethiopian delegation led by President Haile Selassie has arrived in Luanda, Angola's capital, to attend the U.S.-Africa Business Summit scheduled from June 22 to 25, 2025. Upon his arrival in Luanda, President Haile and his delegation were accorded a warm welcome by high-level Angolan government officials. This year's U.S.-Africa Summit is unique, particularly given that it took place shortly after the U.S. shifted its policy towards the continent to focus on investment and commercial diplomacy. The shift in the Donald Trump administration highlights a transition from an aid-heavy model to one rooted in investment, infrastructure, and deal-making as part of America's first foreign policy. The highly anticipated summit is expected to bring together over 1,500 delegates, including African presidents, heads of state, ministers, and senior U.S. and African government officials and business leaders. Organized by the Corporate Council on Africa, CCA, in collaboration with the Angolan government, the U.S.-Africa Summit will cover opportunities for expanding U.S.-Africa trade, investment, and business relations. At the event, President Haile is anticipated to deliver the keynote speech and hold bilateral discussions on the sidelines of the summit. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed held discussions with media professionals. The Premier has disclosed on his social media platform that the final stakeholder discussions held today, which brought together media professionals from both the public and private sectors to explore industry-specific concerns and challenges. The media plays a vital role in Ethiopia's development by keeping the public informed, promoting dialogue, and supporting national progress. Welcome back. House of People's Representatives Chief Government Whip Tesfaye Beljige underscores the urgent need to revitalize Pan-Africanism as a foundational pillar for achieving political unity and economic integration across Africa. Speaking at the Arda Policy Talk series hosted by the Foreign Affairs Institute, Tesfaye highlights the need to reinvigorate Pan-Africanism to effectively confront contemporary challenges while honoring historical legacies is imperative. Shagao Yamato has the details from the Ethiopian news agency.
Speaking at the Arda Policy Talk series hosted by the Foreign Affairs Institute, House of People's Representatives Chief Government Whip Tesfaye Beljige says Pan-Africanism embodies the inalienable right of African peoples to self-determination and envisions the continent as an equal stakeholder in global affairs. While acknowledging key achievements such as the establishment of the Organization of African Unity and its successor, the African Union, Tesfaye noted that many foundational objectives of Pan-Africanism remain unrealized. Persistent challenges surrounding political cohesion, economic sovereignty and cultural revival continue to demand urgent attention. The Chief Government Whip outlines prospects to reinvigorate Pan-Africanism to achieve African unity and integration.
There are, of course, prospects of Pan-Africanism to reinvigorate it. Prospects for reinvigorating Pan-Africanism includes like the existence of integration frameworks, institutions, and operational structures, that the presence of young populations in Africa, economic, infrastructure, and resource potentials. These are the prospects for reinvigorating Pan-Africanism.
He also calls for an African renaissance focused on intellectual emancipation and economic transformation, necessitating bold institutional reforms, strategic mobilization of indigenous resources, and a unified economic vision capable of addressing global disparities. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is a testament to Africa's capacity for self-reliant development and regional solidarity, challenging historical patterns of dependencies, the Chief Government Whip added.
The Ethiopian Great Renaissance Dam as a catalyst for regional economic integrations. I brought the Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam here as an example how the idea of Pan-Africanism still works, how the regional economic integration is still alive.
Tesfaye further emphasizes the importance of embedding Pan-African ideals into key institutions, including education systems and regional economic blocs, to foster cohesive progress. Concluding his remarks, the Chief Government Whip stated that revitalizing Pan-Africanism requires thoughtful engagement with Africa's rich diversity and a resolute commitment to collaborative actions that cultivate unity through shared values and collective endeavors.
Participants of the 10th Africa Public Service Day emphasized the urgent need to strengthen the competencies of civil servants and to shift prevailing mindsets in order to transform the public sector across the continent. Mindset was also highlighted as a critical driver of public service transformation to enhancing institutional effectiveness, fostering digital innovation, enabling sound policy making, and promoting transparency, integrity, and accountability. Jerusalem Betzaha has more from the Ethiopian news agency.
Public service in African countries typically include ministers, local governments, public enterprise, and agencies that handle education, health, infrastructure, social welfare, public safety, and justice. The service aims to meet citizens' basic needs and support national development goals. From 21 up to 23 June 2025, Addis Ababa hosted the 10th Continental Africa Public Service Day under the EU-endorsed theme, enhancing the agility and resilience of public institutions to achieve equitable governance and rapidly address historical service delivery gaps. On the occasion, African Peer Review Mechanism Continental Governance Officer Sarah Hamouda said that strengthening the competency of African civil servants would help to transform public service sector in the continent.
We believe that the APRMU and this capacity building program has been very vital and very dynamic platform to share best practices on improving the policy, institutional and legal framework for competency in civil service in Africa. We also believe that the African Union is also urged to continue working with member states to accelerate the ratification of the EU Charter on Civil Service and capitalize also on the APRM national structures to deliver on this job. And lastly but not least, also that African national schools of government, they have a very critical and growing role to play in guiding, providing advisory services for national authorities to improve code of ethics, performance, and a scorecard to align with the job specifications and avoid the political nepotism.
On her part, Cristina Rodriguez Acosta, Inter-Regional Advisor for the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, emphasized the need to change the mindsets of civil servants in order to promote effective institutions for sustainable development across the continent.
Innovation and transforming mindsets is also present, engaging the citizens in the delivery of the services, building partnerships is also very important, and of course, utilizing digital technologies to help us improve the delivery of services.
Africa's public service sector is a critical component of governance and development across the continent. It includes the various government departments and agencies responsible for implementing public policies, delivering service, and managing public resource.
And finally, in business, the Ethiopian government has expressed its keen interest to exploit the African Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA agreement to boost new economic opportunities with a view to transforming the country's trade and economic landscape. The statement was made by Ethiopian Minister of Trade and Regional Integration Kasahun Gofe while addressing a validation meeting on Ethiopia's national AfCFTA implementation strategy, which was jointly organized with the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, on Friday. The minister said the Continental Free Trade Pact has strong potential as it offers Ethiopia and the wider African countries with new economic opportunities by diversifying partnerships, which will ultimately help address the East African countries' current significant trade deficit. As Ethiopia finalizes its national AfCFTA implementation strategy, Gofe said the strategy is deeply integrated with the country's wider development targets, focusing on structural reforms. The Ethiopian government is taking efforts to open up the country's economic landscape so as to leverage intra-African trade opportunities through the effective implementation of the AfCFTA, according to the ministry. You're watching ABC. A quick reminder of the stories making headlines. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed says media plays a vital role in Ethiopia's development by keeping the public informed, promoting dialogue and supporting national progress. And Ethiopia has emphasized the critical need to revitalize Pan-Africanism in order to achieve political and economic integration. That's all we had for now. I'm Tabitha John. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye for now and take care.